Good day to you. This is PM712, Week 3's assignment, Multiple Project Management. Dr. Chad McAllister presiding as the instructor or professor. And my name is Chad Brown. And there's another part of the assignment cover sheet. Again, my name's on there. And this week we're covering recommend project management strategy for the team, multiple or portfolio management. Pick either one of the styles to recommend as a strategy for the team. Now, in the introduction, it said to develop a strategy for the effective use of resources across multiple projects or with portfolio projects. And immediately, the assignment asks for the criteria listed in the project overview statement, or think of the assignment paragraph at the beginning as an assignment overview statement, much like a work overview statement or a work invoice. And in that assignment overview statement, it asks to address the strategy. Now, in between the two management styles of portfolio or multiple, there is a systemic approach type thing, as portfolio is probably more global and multiple projects is more sequential. In terms of Tuckman stage of forming, norming, storming, and performing, then portfolio is probably closer to the beginning brainstorming, which is forming, and multiple is more closer to the work aspect of the performing, the implementation. And in steps term, in project management steps, portfolio is more of the planning, whereas about 4 steps later, multiple is more the implementation of task activities. And in terms of just general overall use of vernacular, portfolio is more of a strategy, and multiple is a form of tactical. Strategy really involves a brainstorming plan at the beginning. Tactical takes the mission statement that was strategized and tries to give it more tactical depth, more task or bullet points to its completion. Now, going on from the introduction, just learning the assignment overview statement, that scheduling was the first criteria in the assignment overview. This effect increases as more as assignment of human resources to departments is arbitrary and does not reflect specific skills. And in that, with scheduling, the more specific skills is usually a great thing, but creates a different bottleneck in the interpretation of how those different backgrounds of skills were supposed to be implemented. So you're going to use kind of a global view to understand how to go about doing the task in that for the project, as demonstrated here by one-point project. Now, since that was an overall, scheduling means developing a working plan that displays tasks, personal responsibilities, money, and time durations. And so from there, we have that's a planning from the project management steps. So planning is more equivalent to a portfolio management. Now, for the second criteria, resource allocation, other than just the overview, so it's really the third criteria mentioned in assignment overview. Work breakdown, task, activity process, iteration creates closed loop flows of work in which defects or optional changes for improvement are discovered, changes are made, and the work is checked or tested again for additional change requirements. Iteration can greatly magnify the total work effort needed for completion because rework can expose or create additional change requirements. Now, again, from one-point project, task activities are going to be listed in the work breakdown structure with prioritized or with colored task post-it notes. And those are the original requirements without the rework requirements of additional requirements of other groups or their ideals coming into it needing other prioritization. So rework creates tactical requirements in the project. Thus, a new cumulative project scope creep for the project is increased via new task requirements. Since that's tactical in a vernacular use, Now, moving to the fourth criteria of the assignment overview, effective resource management have key barriers in the complex relationships among projects and stakeholders of multiple independent projects. Their interdependencies create resource limitations, differing and conflicting needs, emergent conditions affecting processes, and elevated ambiguity which can lead to conflict among the project teams. So we want to definitely keep track of the resource through here, advanced learning, and this sets up a sort of stock trade tracking of the budget from project listed item to item for each project. And that is also given a graphical representation, not only through the prioritization per cell, but also through the bubble diagram underneath, showing how big of a risk or expenditure is per each listed task activity going on in each project or from project to project. Plan for multiple project resources delivery by listing the resource sheet responsibilities from each project. Demand criteria statements takes portfolio project management tracking software for effectiveness. So that was from the project management steps, that's planning, to portfolio management. Now to the fifth criteria, the learning loop. With a right learning loop, there exists only a unique progress ratio for each particular product. Both this fact and the initial concavity of the learning curve are phenomena attributable to observing progress in the midstream of process, not from the beginning. Now, the learning curve has an error ratio. The more you learn, the less errors you commit. And a Pareto chart has an error ratio with the occurrence of the project development. Now, from that part, unique ratio calculations are made in that right model or the Crawford learning loop, and they're suited for work task activities performed by multiple project managers, delivery arrow node to node diagrams. Anticipate activity management, work activity task management, or for activity theory, the motor of change is contradiction. Contradiction is referred to anything within the system that opposes the overall motive of the system, the aim or purpose that subjects within the system are individually or collectively striving toward. Now here, that anticipate activity management can be seen in an arrow node-to-node diagram from early starts to late finish. A lot of these are used for crashing costs or crashing time durations of task activities so that you can determine the slack within an activity or project or the float of an activity or project. Organizing and scheduling the float helps prevent the global project increase in project delivery of activity on arrow node-to-node project baseline time durations. In that, that's a global systemic learning approach, so therefore that is associated with portfolio. Thus, in conclusion, if we're going to translate a score to a grade in a table, we're going to include a 1.1 letter grade until reaching the A letter grade, which is then going to be broken up into, on the right side, an A minus, A, and A plus. So there's 3 listings for the A. So the management score of that, taking that type of sense, had a, for the different management styles, had a 4 for the portfolio and a 2 on the multiple management style to help teams reach their effective resource utilization. So for an equivalent editor's choice, I believe portfolio project management is the best means or aiding a team in finding its effective resource management. Thank you for listening to me. This has been Chad Brown with North Central University and Project Management 7012, Multiple Projects Management.